It's February 7th, 2014, and this is Earth Prime Weekly. Welcome back to another episode of Earth Prime Weekly. I'm your host, Mike Halpin.
And I'm Dan Halpin.
Okay, first off, to start off with this week, I gotta say, this is, we've had a Twitter account up for now 2 months, and Wednesday night we reached 1,000 followers, and again, it is all thanks to you, whether you listen or not, or you just follow us on Twitter. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so pumped.
Yeah, hell man, it's awesome. We're going to keep doing it if you guys keep listening, so...
You keep listening.
Yeah.
You keep listening. We'll keep pumping them out, but forget us. It's time to get to the news of the week, and we have a lot to cover. Going to be a Marvel-heavy episode. I can promise you that, people. So to start out, we're going to start off with Captain America, the Winter Soldier. So a couple days ago, Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, Danny, he came out and he's basically said how thrilled he is with the Captain America movie, and we already know Marvel's thrilled with it in general because they're already bringing back the Russo brothers to direct the next one. And again, the movie hasn't even come out yet, and they are that confident that it's going to be that good.
Yeah, good for them. They're making the money so they can do it, you know?
Of course they can. Well, first off, they're Disney. They'll always make the money, and it's Marvel now, and we all know Marvel's a powerhouse in the comic book movie industry. So, I mean, you can't show them enough love. But so basically, Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, said that, again, he's thrilled with the movie, and he hinted that basically this movie is going to set up the Avengers too.
Which would be, who's going to be the bad guy in that one?
Avengers Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron, that's
so,
right.
Yeah,
right.
So whatever's going on in this movie is supposedly supposed to set things in motion, which I originally thought it was going to be the Guardians of the Galaxy, to tell you the truth, that I thought was going to set everything in motion. That way they'd be able to tie them in for this movie. So we'll see what they do. I have no idea, but I guess also the Captain America movie is supposed to set some pretty sweet things in motion for the S.H.I.E.L.D. show, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on ABC, which, I gotta be honest, I'm not a big fan of it.
I haven't watched it.
I watched the first half of it, and I fell off, man. It's not my thing. I know the last episode was supposed to be awesome.
You know what? It was just, their selling point was, I don't know his name. The dude who dies in the Avengers.
Agent Coulson.
Agent Coulson. He's awesome. But, like...
Agent Coulson's the shit, man.
But that's what they sold you. They're like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and this guy. And it's just like, oh.
Well, I think the show came out with more of a promise that it was going to have bigger characters, I guess. Not that they don't have characters in it.
There are characters with powers, but I don't know who they are, and that's bad advertising.
They're minor, but I mean, what are you going to do? You're not throwing Robert Downey Jr. in there.
No. Well,
Chris Evans isn't showing up as Captain America. It costs way too much money.
Obviously, but why connect it with those movies? You can just...
Well, it is already connected with the movies. I'm just saying, for casting-wise, acting-wise, the people who are in it aren't... They're not from the movie, besides Agent Coulson, but I don't know the guy's name, but he was already doing television before that. And Agent Coulson's awesome in the Avengers.
No, yeah, he is, but that's
some of the best lines.
That's your selling point, though?
What was cool, I understand what you mean, but I loved in the Iron Man movies, because he kind of starts out as just a very bland, quiet character.
Well, he's awesome in the first movie, where he's just kind of always trying to get a meeting with them, and they keep... They keep blowing his ass off. Yeah, and then finally he's like, with what's her name, and they realize that, he's a big part. Like, they can work together on this.
It is cool, but it is so cool the fact that you have this cross-media universe.
Yeah, that is cool.
That's pretty damn impressive. Because most movies, most big-budget movies like that wouldn't sully their hands with television, or at least try and tie themselves to it. But because it's Marvel, and because they have a fan base, and they are loyal to their fans, they say, we're going to do it all, and we don't care if it's technically not done before, or if maybe some people think it's tacky to tie television with movies together like that. They're going to do it anyway because it pleases the fans.
You know what? It's apparent that Disney has a lot of faith in everything Marvel's doing, because they've had the amusement park going on, haven't they?
Well, there's going to be a traveling amusement park.
A traveling amusement park. They have the TV show. They obviously have the universe they've created. And from what I hear, they're also planning on doing a whole radio station dedicated to Marvel.
Yeah, they're on Disney Radio.
Because Disney Radio, they have all these media outputs, and they know that there is a fan base for this, a big fan base.
Oh yeah, look at the money it makes.
Yeah, and people who like movies in general or really hardcore comic book.
Well, and that's the great part about Marvel is because you don't have to. I mean, let's face it, Iron Man wasn't a household name before Iron Man came out, but people went to go see the movies, and now everyone knows who Iron Man is. Iron Man's name is now synonymous with Spider-Man and Batman and Superman.
Oh yeah, how about it?
So it is awesome. But I wanted to get into this. So also because I was talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. So supposedly this is just a rumor. Nothing is confirmed. But supposedly they're talking about doing. They're already looking into a Guardians of the Galaxy sequel in 2016.
I mean, all these movies created like this, they always have a plan of going into a sequel. But you still have to see how this movie's going to play out in theaters.
Absolutely.
Winter Soldier.
Yes.
They're doing number 2 right now, and you can always do 3. If you're going to do 2, you can always do the third one.
Yeah.
So, if the first one's really good and the second one's kind of bad, they're like, well, hey, the third one's going to be awesome.
Well, look at Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 was a stinker, I thought.
Yeah, and so was Iron Man 3.
I disagree with you. I understand why. And a lot of fans think, Iron Man 3 was a stinker, but mainly because of the whole Mandarin part, which I got to say was a letdown because he was such a badass villain. He was so... It was intense. Like, he struck fear into you in that
really did.
That speech.
It never...
What does he say? He's like, "You do not know where I am, or I will find you." It was awesome. It was great. And then what he turns out to be...
But it doesn't deliver,
It doesn't deliver, but that being said, I thought Ben Kingsley was effing hysterical when he turns out... He's got hookers in there with him.
I didn't care at that point, because the comedies came already in that movie. At this point, I was ready for...
You were ready for the showdown.
I was ready for a showdown.
Yeah. I understand. I do.
And I'm not big on knowledge of all that, so I didn't really know. Maybe there was guys who were really big fans of Marvel who were
well, that was the thing.
I know this isn't going to work out.
That's all of a sudden you turned out to find out that I'm trying to think who would be the equivalent to Batman, maybe the Riddler or something. I don't know, someone big on that level who all of a sudden just turned out to be an entire hoax and completely shit on the history of the character.
I just really want to sell this book on riddles, man. I think it's the best way to go about it in Gotham.
He turned out to be a book salesman.
Yeah, that's my point. But
so, yes, that would infuriate me. I would probably storm Warner Brothers with a pitchfork and torches with an angry crowd of fanboys.
But they're doing Iron Man 4, right?
I don't know. There's nothing been said about it. I got to tell you, man, I think Robert Downey Jr. might be a little Iron Man'd out. Because this is going to be... Because, let's face it, he's going to be doing Avengers, 5 movies as Iron Man.
Depends, man. If he enjoys... Who knows if he enjoys the role?
And he does enjoy the role, but I think at some point in his career, he wants to do other shit.
And you know what? Even if he wants to be done, there's somebody else out there who can hold their own. People won't like him at first, but look at the Hulk, man. Everybody wanted Edward Norton.
Oh, but Mark Ruffalo is the shit, though,
Well, I didn't know about Mark Ruffalo until that movie.
Really?
Then I thought he was so fucking cool.
No way. And, Mark Ruffalo was... It's hard for me to compare because I love Edward Norton, and I loved The Incredible Hulk. I thought The Incredible Hulk was one of... I think it might have been one of the best movies, for me personally, out of the Marvel, pre-Avengers. Yeah. Out of all of them, besides Iron Man. Iron Man stands on its own in a certain way.
Even though they had the military in there as a big enemy, which it usually is in the Hulk, you gotta give him... the monster to fight because you've created such
they gave him Abomination, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was that exactly.
It was, and what are you gonna do? Who's the Hulk gonna fight? Let's make another Hulk and make him duke it out in Harlem.
And it was awesome to watch because they fought like monsters. They're just like, well, I'll just grab this car and smack you with it. They
did, yes. Yeah, they're using Toyotas as boxing gloves in the movie. It was so sweet
because you have to have the same thing with Superman. You have to have that physical, dominant opposing force,
which was Lex, or not Lex. I'm sorry, Zod.
Yeah, who can handle Superman's power?
Perfect.
So
Zack Snyder did a great job with that, but we'll get into Superman later. But so next up, I want to get into the Fantastic Four reboot, which is coming up. Which so there's just been screenings for it. There's really not much coming out, but apparently a couple days ago, it was announced that Emmy Rossum from Shameless, she also played Bulma in the Dragon Ball Evolution movie.
Oh, she did.
She did play Bulma.
I've seen Bulma's boobs.
Yeah, she's seen Bulma's boobs. And,
awesome.
And she's gorgeous. She's smoking hot and Shameless. Yeah. She, I guess, is screen testing for the part of Sue Storm.
Okay, yeah.
Screen testing, she's not been chosen, but they're testing her out, and she's a good actor. I mean, she holds her own in Shameless, no problem. Yeah. And she's been acting since she was young. She was in The Day After Tomorrow. She was very young. Again, she was young in Dragon Ball Evolution, but I would not blame her for that movie in any way, shape, or form. I don't know what happened with that.
That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, I know. I'll start cutting myself if I talk about the Dragon Ball Evolution movie. Are you kidding me? But no, so she's testing for the role. So I mean, I think she'd be great. I don't care. I think it'd be awesome. I think they're going for a younger Fantastic Four, not demographic, but I think all the characters are going to be younger, which I don't really like because they're astronauts. No one's sending 25-year-olds into space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what world are we from here? And will they do another origin? Because I got to tell you, as bad as the Fantastic Four movies are viewed, I didn't think the first one was terrible because everyone's like, well, it was campy, it was goofy. Well, yeah, it's called the Fantastic Four, okay? I mean, you kind of got to let some things slide sometimes. Not every movie can be The Dark Knight.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, and that happened in the comics as well when The Dark Knight Returns came out, and that really sold. Everybody's characters like, well, somebody has to die in their family, and there has to, you know.
Oh, you're talking about Death of the Family?
No.
Okay.
No, when The Dark Knight Returns came out, it really took the comic book world by storm, and everybody wanted a real brooding. Everybody wanted to darken up their characters, you know. But,
yeah.
And you can't do that with everybody, especially the Fantastic Four.
No, okay, they're called the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How serious?
The main guy's name, Mr. Fantastic. Yeah. Come on, it's hysterical.
I love Mr. Fantastic.
So I don't care how campy they would have gotten with them, even though the Silver Surfer movie was terrible. I think they did a great disservice to the Silver Surfer.
We just talked about this. When you introduce such a powerful force, like the Silver Surfer is ridiculous. Silver Surfer is ridiculous.
But they didn't fuck up his origin like they did with the bad guy.
No, that's fine. They didn't mess any of that up. But he's so powerful. Even in the comics, the only way to really beat the Silver Surfer is to make him your friend. Or turn him against, what's his name? Who's the guy who...
Hey, Silver, you want to have a beer? Galactus.
Galactus, that's right, yeah.
Which Galactus turned out to be a giant cloud. Which, one thing I got to give the Green Lantern credit for something, because they didn't make Parallax a giant cloud. He was a giant cloud, but he had a face.
Yeah, well, giant cloud.
And he does eat planets. Galactus and Parallax are, in a sense, kind of the same thing. They're planet eaters.
Well, actually, and you know what? The Silver Surfer storyline for that is really cool, man. You should go check that out.
I will. I've actually got some old Silver Surfers upstairs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so... I've read them. They're cool. And they're old ones. They're 80s. And so it's a little different at the time.
Yeah.
It's not like the writing is now. Well, writing is everything.
I got that Aquaman book in the mail. And that's like, they explain scenes to you.
Where Black Manta kills his son.
Yeah, Death of the Prince.
Death of
spoilers.
The Prince. So,
whatever.
It's been out forever.
I don't
Come
think
on.
anybody's going to read But yeah, so it's really old. So it's kind of weird how it's written.
I got you on that. So, I mean, again, with the Fantastic Four, yes, Emmy Rossum. I think that should be a fine role for it. They've also, I think for the part of Mr. Fantastic, they've been testing the two guys from Game of Thrones. The guy who plays Jon Snow and the guy who plays... Kit Harington plays Jon Snow.
Okay.
I think he tested for it, and I think the guy who plays Rob Stark, Rob Snow tested for him too.
The one who's dead?
Spoilers!
Whatever.
Yeah, if you're not watching Game of Thrones, come on, get on your shit here. So yes, I guess they're testing for the part of Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, cool.
So, and again, to continue on with more Marvel.
Did we talk about Doom? Possible Mr. Doom.
Ooh, okay, good catch.
So
Danny. Go ahead.
I have like a Marvel informant. Like I got a buddy in school. He's a strictly Marvel guy. I'm not necessarily strictly DC. But
You're more flexible than I am.
I've always been more of like a caped hero kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like kind of
classic heroes.
But I was looking around today. I kind of want to get into some more Marvel stuff just because there are good stories and I like to follow writers.
Well, I know they've Marvel now is rebooting some of their books. They're kind of doing like a half-assed New 52. It's called Marvel Now.
Yeah.
The amazing. Well, it's not that it's half-assed, but they're not going all the way. They're not just going to say we're wiping the slate clean.
Because they don't have a reason to reboot their books.
I understand that. But they also said we'll never drop them back down to one.
Yeah, but who cares?
I'm not saying.
They didn't drop them down to one. They created a new series for the Marvel Now thing because they're still running old series and old books.
Fair enough.
They just created a new line like the All-Star line.
I wouldn't mind an entire reboot though, because I think it would drive me to start reading the Marvel Comics
a
little bit more.
My big thing.
I'm getting the Amazing Spider-Man 1 when it comes out in April.
I would like it better if comic books would just let, or like the companies would just let the artist and the writer take the character and do what they want with them.
I think you need a little bit of control because I think that's where DC ran into problems in the past is because there was such what do you want to call it, disconnect between all the characters and continuity.